In this video, I share some Stoics lessons in a practical and easy-to-understand way. According to the Stoics, an extraordinary life means living according to your highest nature, leaving no space between you and the best version of yourself, the version you dream of being. Life's worries, fears, or anxieties cannot stop you. You are capable and have the autonomy to do so. I invite you to watch the video to the end and leave a comment. I'm sure that by the end, you will have understood exactly what the Stoics consider to be an extraordinary life, and can, if you wish, start applying it to your life. Now, what is Stoicism? Stoicism is an ancient philosophy whose principles were discussed and lived long before Jesus passed through this world. To put it simply, one of the most important things about Stoicism is that it values reason and logic as tools for understanding the world and finding solutions. The Stoics believed that the universe follows a natural order that can be understood and accepted through reason and virtue. Furthermore, for the Stoics, virtue includes qualities such as courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance, which should be cultivated and practiced in all situations in life. Virtue is seen as an end in itself, not as a means to achieve other goals. Another aspect of Stoicism is the acceptance of fate and the understanding of the transience of things, as well as the way we face and respond to these realities. Stoicism highlights the importance of community and social duty. For the Stoics, virtue cannot only be achieved individually, but also through commitment to society and other human beings. We all have a moral responsibility towards each other, and we must seek the common good. In short, Stoicism is a philosophy that values reason, virtue, acceptance of fate and community as tools applied to achieving wisdom and tranquility in different areas of life, from the personal to the professional. Zeno of Ceux was the creator of Stoicism and was a wealthy merchant from the city of Ceux in Cyprus. After witnessing his ship sink with all his fortune, he went to the ancient city of Athens, considered the most intellectual city in the world. It was there that Zeno came into contact with the philosophy of Socrates, Plato, and other thinkers. These influences caused a total transformation in Zeno's life. From that moment on, he founded the Stoic philosophical school, which lasted approximately 300 years, and whose teachings remain relevant even after 2,000 years. It's important to note that Stoic ideas reached their peak in Rome around 150 BC, with philosophers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Christianity itself was profoundly influenced by Stoicism. Stoicism, as a guide to life, uses the term operating system in an ironic way, recognizing that we are not simple machines and that our realities go beyond the logic applied to computers. We can understand Stoicism as a moral filter to guide our choices in life. When we think of philosophy, we often imagine something difficult to understand. It can seem complex, boring, and seemingly useless in the midst of our daily concerns, such as work, family responsibilities, bills, and other practical matters. Would you agree? However, this is exactly where the historical lessons move away from the general idea that philosophy is something complex and destined only for privileged minds. On the contrary, Stoicism was conceived by ordinary people for ordinary people. In this video, I share some historical lessons in a practical and easy-to-understand way. The Stoics defined the term extraordinary life as the state of living according to your highest nature, believing that there is no distance between you and the best version of yourself, the version you dream of being. Life's worries, fears, or anxieties cannot stand in the way of this. You are capable and have the autonomy to achieve an extraordinary life. I invite you to watch the video to the end and leave a comment. I'm sure that by the end you'll have understood exactly what the Stoics consider to be an extraordinary life and will be able, if you wish, to start applying it to your life. What is Stoicism anyway? Stoicism is an ancient philosophy whose principles were discussed and practiced long before Jesus came into the world. For you to understand better, one of the most important things about Stoicism is that it values reason and logic as tools for understanding the world and making decisions. The Stoics believed that the universe follows a natural order that we can understand and accept through reason and virtue. In addition, for them, virtue is a set of qualities such as courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance, which must be cultivated and practiced in all situations in life. Virtue is seen as a goal in itself, not just as a means to achieve other things. Another important characteristic of Stoicism is accepting fate and understanding that things are temporary. They also highlighted how we face and respond to these realities. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of community and social duty. For the Stoics, virtue is not something we achieve only individually, but also through commitment to society and other people. We all have a moral responsibility towards each other, and we must seek the common good. In short, Stoicism is a philosophy that values reason, virtue, acceptance of fate and community as tools for achieving wisdom and tranquility in different areas of life, both personal and professional. If you're here in search of knowledge, accept the challenge of expanding your mind. Learn, grow and evolve in your life. Click on the subscribe button and activate the bell to integrate Stoicism into your life on a daily basis. Zeno of Su started Stoicism and was a wealthy merchant from the city of Keu in Cyprus. After his ship sank with all his fortune, he went to the ancient city of Athens, known as the smartest city in the world. It was there that Zeno became acquainted with the ideas of philosophers such as Socrates and Plato. These influences completely changed Zeno's life. From that moment on, he created the Stoic philosophical school, which lasted about 300 years, and whose teachings are still relevant even after 2,000 years. It's important to note that Stoic ideas reached their peak in Rome around 150 BC, with philosophers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Christianity was also greatly influenced by Stoicism. Stoicism, compared to an operating system for life, uses this expression ironically, recognizing that we are not simple machines and that our realities go beyond the logic applied to computers. We can think of Stoicism as a moral filter that guides us when making decisions in life. When we encounter the idea of philosophy, we often associate it with something complex and difficult to understand. It seems far removed from everyday concerns, such as work, family responsibilities, bills, taxes, and even the routine at the gym. However, it is precisely at this point that historical lessons debunk the notion that philosophy is reserved for privileged minds, complex and not very accessible to the common public. Stoicism, on the other hand, was developed by ordinary people for ordinary people. It's worth noting that notable figures have adopted Stoicism as a philosophy of life, regardless of their origins or positions in society. From emperors like Marcus Aurelius to people born into slavery, Stoic philosophy has cut across many social strata. Among these figures we find historical leaders such as George Washington, one of the founders of the United States of America, and successful entrepreneurs such as Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. The list could extend to renowned athletes, entrepreneurs, and authors. In addition to their success stories, what unites these personalities is the adoption of Stoicism as an operating system for facing life's challenges. This philosophy thus becomes a tool accessible to everyone, regardless of their position in society. Let's talk about some of the fundamental principles of Stoicism. Dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can manage. One of the best-known Stoic principles is the division of control. This concept is based on the idea that some things are under our control, while others are not. You can categorize all your actions into these two areas and learn to direct your attention only to what is within your control. This implies recognizing that most of the world, around 99%, is beyond your influence. Epictetus explains that there are things within our reach and others that are not. The main task in life is to identify and distinguish these issues, allowing you to clearly distinguish what is out of your control and what actions you have control over. You should avoid looking for good and evil in uncontrollable external things, but rather focus internally on the choices that are yours. When you realize that you have no power over the outside world, such as the weather, opinions, or even your health, don't spend all your energy on the 99% that is out of your reach. Focus on your 1%, where your true strength lies. Remember that aspects such as your opinions, motivation, desires, and reactions to the outside world are under your control. You don't command the weather, but you do have control over how you react to it. You don't have control over the lies people tell about you, but you do have control over your opinion of those lies and your response to the situation. People can spread falsehoods regardless of who you are. Your reputation is beyond your control. Even if you are a person of integrity, Envy can lead other people to make up lies about you. However, you decide whether or not to believe these lies. Keep acting according to the good you know you should do, as this reflects your true character. A comparison made by the Stoics is that of the archer. An archer can prepare himself to the maximum, choosing the best bow, the best arrow, practicing every day, but as soon as he releases the arrow, he can't control the wind or the movement of the target. In the same way, in everyday life, you don't have to worry too much about the outcome of a job interview, because the outcome doesn't just depend on you. The person conducting the interview may be in a bad mood, or there may be someone more experienced vying for the same position. So the real attention should be paid to your technical preparation, your professional qualifications, and strategic planning to increase your chances of success in the job search. Many people face mental anguish because they worry about what others think about their work or skills, but other people's opinions are not under our control. What we can really manage is our kindness, courtesy, respect, and presence. Beyond that, there's nothing we can do about the opinions others have of us. Amor fati, appreciate your destiny. The idea of accepting what cannot be controlled is not exclusive to the Stoics. Nietzsche, one of the most influential philosophers in history, introduced the concept of amor fati. He highlights human greatness through this love of fate, which means desiring nothing different from what is, neither in the future nor in the past, nor for all eternity. Not just enduring what is necessary, but loving it. Loving fate means loving destiny. It means learning to accept everything that happens in life, including the most difficult and obscure parts. Many things are not entirely under our control, and destiny is one of them. We can control our actions today, but factors outside our control, such as the actions of others, some illness or some external situation, can jeopardize destiny or the outcome we desire. Resentment towards life arises when our expectations don't come true. As Dr. Fred Laskin of Stanford University said, "I wanted life to say yes to me, but it said no. I wanted a certain person to want me, but they didn't. I wanted my partner to be faithful, but they weren't. I got a no. I got a no." Imagine Carol, a woman who, after a disappointing relationship in which she trusted completely and was deceived, chooses to adopt the principle of fati amor. Instead of wallowing in resentment and mistrust, Carol decides to accept what happened as part of her destiny and an opportunity for growth. She faces the pain of the past and chooses not to let it define her. She uses this experience to strengthen herself, determined to give the future a new chance. Carol decides to open herself up to new possibilities in love. The same goes for Pedro, who is a micro-entrepreneur. After investing all his savings in a partnership that didn't work out, instead of blaming the partner, the economic scenario, or even himself, he sees the situation as an inevitable part of his journey and a valuable learning opportunity. Pedro recognizes the adversities of the past and decides not to be defined by this temporary failure, restructuring himself and opening a new business. To love destiny is to have the ability to deal with the no's that life throws at us without prejudice. This doesn't mean passive acceptance, but rather being willing to give what the future holds a chance. In practice, love of destiny motivates us to accept what happens, to say "I do" in the face of challenges, reminding us that we have no control over events, but we can choose how to react to them. To fully explain historical philosophy in just one video is almost impossible, but I hope that the lessons presented so far have aroused your curiosity and begun to guide you towards a better understanding of all the teachings. Now I'm going to cover the 4 historical virtues that play the role of commandments as a moral guide. Wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice are the 4 virtues that make up the Stoic ethical code. For Stoicism, following these virtues is crucial to achieving an extraordinary life, a principle that boils down to living according to nature. Living according to nature, one of the central principles of Stoicism, is a motto that deserves a closer look. When Epictetus stated that man is a rational animal subject to death, he was highlighting the unique characteristic that distinguishes us from wild beasts and simpler animals such as sheep. This distinction, however, is not just a mere biological observation. It is a call to specific conduct. Epictetus's warning, urging us not to act like beasts or sheep, goes beyond the simple animal comparison. He suggests that, as human beings, we have a responsibility to act according to our rational capacity. We are rational animals, and this rationality should guide our actions. When we act without the use of reason, we lose our humanity and become more like aggressive and harmful animals. It is therefore a call to reflect on how we employ our unique capacity for reason in all of life's situations. Understanding this distinction not only keeps us in line with human nature, but also pushes us to reach our true potential as rational beings. Living in accordance with nature means acting rationally and not randomly, or controlled by emotions as animals do. In other words, we should always use our natural ability to think in all our actions. If we use reason, we will be living in accordance with nature, acting in the way that human beings should act. For the Stoics, the greatest good we can have in life is virtue. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to respond with virtue, even in the most complicated and painful moments. The Stoics believed that by acting with virtue, everything important in life, such as happiness, success, reputation, honor, and love, can come true. This is because a virtuous person doesn't need anything else to live fully. Now you may be wondering what exactly virtue is. As we've already explained, the Stoics believed that there were four fundamental virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Let's take a look at each of them. Wisdom. Wisdom is like a precise guide that helps us discern what is true and right, understanding the world and its cause and effect connections. For the Stoics, wisdom is the basis of all virtues, because it is through wisdom that we can know how to act according to reason and understand the world around us. The Stoics valued the search for knowledge as fundamental to making wise decisions. This means learning from experience, reflecting on our actions, and being willing to change our minds when we realize we're wrong. We can imagine wisdom as a GPS in our lives. The more up-to-date the system, the more accurate information we have to guide us along the way. In everyday life, Stoic wisdom can be applied when facing challenges at work, for example. Instead of reacting impulsively, take time to think, research, and consider possible solutions. This will help you make smarter and more effective decisions. For the Stoics, wisdom also involves the ability to distinguish between what is important and what is not, acting on the basis of reason. This means making decisions based on facts and data, not just intuition or hunches. Learning to count, whether it's your time, money, or food, is essential to having a complete picture of your situation and making informed choices. Facts and figures are not just a business fad, but a way of cultivating wisdom. We can adapt this concept to our lives. For example, if you want more free time to get a project off the ground or be there for your family, you could dedicate a month to recording your actions, dividing it up by weeks and writing down everything you do and how much time you spend. At the end of the month, you'll have a complete picture of how you invest your time and will be able to better plan your activities, inserting new habits into the free time you may have discovered you have. Identifying and making effective use of daily time is crucial to increasing productivity. If we dedicate 3 to 4 hours every day to activities that don't contribute significantly to our goals, recognizing and redirecting this wasted time can be a vital step. By doing so, we gain the opportunity to optimize our day, channeling energy into more relevant tasks and achieving a better balance between work and leisure. The same principle applies to finances. Although managing money may seem challenging at first, recording all your spending over the course of a month gives you a comprehensive view of your financial situation. This practice provides clarity about how money is being used, enabling more informed decisions. By repeating this process over the course of a few months, we not only gain insight into our financial habits, but also develop the ability to make wiser and more strategic decisions about money. Many people don't have a clear understanding of their monthly spending, which highlights the importance of financial knowledge. By becoming aware of your spending habits, you place yourself among the people who are aware of their finances, and consequently, are better prepared to make responsible and effective financial decisions. This understanding not only benefits your personal finances, but also contributes to a more secure path towards long-term financial goals. Many people forget, but the problem of not achieving their financial goals gives them a bad feeling, a feeling of failure. It's as if they were aiming for the stars, but didn't even reach the roof of a house. This makes them feel powerless and weak, creating bad feelings such as anxiety and even depression. The Stoics didn't let this penetrate their minds because they knew it could be destructive. To that end, I've left a video in the first comment to show you how the Stoics got rid of these problems. Watch it right now. It's in the first comment. Courage. For the Stoics, courage is the ability to act according to reason, even when faced with difficulties and dangers. The word reason is not used by chance here. Just as the Stoics valued rationality as one of the great human abilities, they believed that being courageous does not mean taking unnecessary risks, but rather taking risks that make sense. These risks are necessary in order to create a positive impact and do the right thing. This rational way of thinking helps us to face life's challenges with determination, following a greater purpose without getting carried away by negative emotions such as fear or anger. When we talk about courage, we're not just referring to the physical aspect, but mainly to the moral one. It means doing what is right, facing each situation with clarity and integrity, without letting yourself be influenced by fear or insecurity. Think of situations in which you have had to deal with the unknown, such as starting a new job, ending a relationship, or apologizing to someone. All of these situations require a great deal of courage. Today, Stoic courage manifests itself when you decide to face your fears, such as public speaking, or when you take steps to overcome obstacles, such as starting a new life project, even in the face of uncertainty. Courage can be compared to a car's engine, which propels it forward, even in the face of obstacles. It is considered the first of the human qualities, because it is what ensures the others, as Aristotle pointed out. Temperance. Also called self-control and self-mastery, temperance is the ability to control oneself, to manage one's emotions and desires, acting in accordance with reason and virtue. The Stoics consider temperance to be a crucial virtue that allows us to live in harmony with nature, seeking inner peace and avoiding any excess or lack in the way we live. For the Stoics, self-control is essential to avoid extremes. This means controlling desires and emotions without giving in to short-term impulses. The absence of temperance is represented by extremes. Let's imagine two brothers, Matthias and Eduardo, to understand this better. Matthias spends too much, giving in to every impulse, jeopardizing his financial future with impulsive and luxurious purchases. On the other hand, Eduardo is excessively thrifty, sacrificing his quality of life for excessive savings, refusing even to buy basic items. Balance does not lie at either extreme. Temperance helps us find balance, allowing us to live with quality in the present and avoiding future regrets. This virtue applies to various aspects of our lives, helping us to find a middle path that is healthy and balanced. Justice. The virtue of justice, according to the Stoics, goes beyond simply acting correctly. It implies acting impartially, ensuring that all people are treated fairly and with respect. For adherents of this philosophy, justice is the essential quality that enables ethical decisions to be made based on reason and ethics, without allowing personal interests or prejudices to influence them. Nowadays, this means acting ethically in all interactions, whether in the workplace, in family life, or in the community. It involves practicing honesty, respecting the rights of others, and being committed to the pursuit of equality and justice. Without the presence of justice, courage, as Benjamin Franklin pointed out, loses its strength. Understanding and incorporating the four Stoic virtues is like laying solid foundations for building a meaningful life. Maintaining a solid foundation becomes crucial in a world full of incessant stimuli from social media, marketing, and strategies that seek to influence behavior and values in society. A solid foundation allows you to evaluate your values in the face of constant offers and influences, questioning whether these actions are truly aligned with the life you want to live. By having this foundation, you become more resistant to external pressures and able to make conscious choices, ensuring that your decisions are in harmony with your principles and aspirations. Memento Mori. Facing mortality with tranquility, the memento mori, an expression that means remember that you are mortal in Latin. For the Stoics, this involved recognizing the impermanence of life and the inevitability of death as fundamental parts of our existence. They didn't see this recognition as a gloomy practice, but rather as a tool that, by confronting our own mortality, enables us to live in a more meaningful, virtuous, and serene way. Nowadays, we are surrounded by distractions, and the incessant search for perfection and approval. Stoicism proposes a life well lived, based on the continuous practice of virtue, empathy, and justice. By reflecting on our mortality, we are motivated to prioritize what is really important in our lives. Resilience. Recognizing that life is fleeting helps us to deal with difficult times with resilience. Instead of being overwhelmed by challenges, we can cultivate the courage to face them with determination and move on. Appreciation of the present. The memento mori reminds us to value the present moment. This means living with gratitude and enjoying the little things in life, because we never know how much time we have left. Material detachment. Stoicism also encourages us not to become too attached to material possessions, as they are fleeting. This doesn't mean refusing prosperity, but maintaining a healthy balance between the material and the spiritual. The memento mori in Stoicism reminds us that death is everyone's destiny, regardless of our social and financial position. So instead of fearing it, we can use it as a constant reminder to live with authenticity, courage, and virtue. This helps us to find deeper meaning in our lives and to face the challenges of existence with calm and determination. Ethics of indifference. The real strength behind Stoic indifference lies in a concept deeper than the modern meaning of the word. When Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus encourage us to be indifferent to external things, they are guiding us to cultivate a detached perspective, not in the sense of ignoring or showing disinterest, but rather of not letting these elements control our emotions and inner well-being. In other words, Stoic indifference is not about cold disinterest, but about developing an emotional resilience that allows us to face life's ups and downs with equanimity. By practicing Stoic indifference, we learn not to be overly affected by external events that are beyond our control, such as the pursuit of wealth, the experience of pain, fleeting victories, hope, or unfulfilled dreams. This doesn't mean that we become insensitive, but rather that we develop the ability to respond to these events in a balanced way, without allowing them to shake our inner peace. In a world full of uncertainty, the Stoics invite us to find strength in accepting the things we cannot control and to focus our energy on those we can influence. In this way, Stoic indifference reveals itself as a resilient shield that protects us from emotional fluctuations and enables us to live according to our principles, regardless of external circumstances. However, this is an incorrect, logical, and dangerous analysis. It's not that the Stoics didn't care or weren't social. On the contrary, almost all Stoic philosophers had a public life and were good at dealing with any adverse situation. This makes sense if you want to understand that the aim was to be strong enough so that there was no need for things to go in a specific direction without a solution, or to isolate oneself socially. Seneca, on the other hand, stated that it is obviously better to be rich than poor, tall than short. But even so, the Stoic behaved with indifference when fate actually acted. Why? Because the Stoic was strong enough to face any situation, no matter how adverse. Stoic indifference boils down to accepting what nature has in store for us in relation to what happens in life and not despairing, standing firm, as Epictetus told us. Don't expect everything to happen as you wish, but expect everything to happen as it actually will. Then your life will flow well. The power of the mind to shape your world. Epictetus talks about the power of the mind to shape your world. The last Stoic principle for an extraordinary life that we will address is understanding that our thoughts create our reality. The world unfolds out of our control, chaotically and often unfairly, but we can choose the lenses through which we view it. Think of it as wearing colored glasses. If you're wearing blue glasses, everything will seem dark and unhappy. Change your perspective and you'll see the world differently. It's your perception that shapes your reality, not external events. As Epictetus said, it is not events that disturb us, but our opinion of them. Let's talk about the yellow car phenomenon. This happens when we are focused on something and start to notice it everywhere. For example, if you're looking for blue objects in a room, it's likely that you won't notice as many red objects because you're concentrating on the blue ones. This principle also applies to our everyday lives. If we look at life creatively, we will find creativity in everything around us. It's like changing the lenses on your glasses to see the world in a different way. If we change our perspective, our perception of the world will also change. The main idea is to understand that the way we think is fundamental, especially when we feel stuck in difficult situations. Sometimes people get used to problems, become comfortable in them, and this prevents them from seeking solutions. We can adapt to many things in life, but there is always the possibility of changing our perspective, challenging pessimism, and taking small steps to improve our lives. By changing our thoughts, we can transform our reality. And to transform this reality, you need Stoic mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius defined this very well with 7 lessons for thinking clearly. Click on the video on the screen and watch it now.